I am carrying my husband's best friend's baby, and the weight of this secret is heavier than the life growing inside me. As I sit here in the dim light of my bathroom, clutching the small plastic stick that has just changed my life forever, my hands are trembling uncontrollably. 2 pink lines. Positive. In any other universe, in any other version of my life, this would be the moment I had dreamed of since I was a little girl. I should be crying tears of pure joy. I should be running to the phone to call my mother. I should be planning how to surprise my husband, Mark, when he walks through the door tomorrow morning. But I am not doing any of those things. Instead, I am sitting on the cold tile floor, unable to breathe, because I know the truth. I know the dates. I know that my husband, Mark, has not touched me in over 2 months because of his exhausting night shifts at the warehouse. And I know that exactly 6 weeks ago, on a lonely, rainy Tuesday night, the man who held me when I was falling apart was not Mark. It was David, Mark's best friend. To understand how I ended up in this terrifying situation, you have to understand my life before the test. You have to understand the silence. My name is Michelle, and I have been married to Mark for 5 years. When we first met, everything was electric. Mark was vibrant, funny, and full of energy. We used to stay up until sunrise just talking about our future, planning trips we couldn't afford, and dreaming of a big family. But life has a way of wearing people down slowly, like water dripping on a stone. 2 years ago, Mark lost his office job. It was a massive blow to his confidence and our finances. He searched for months, but eventually, the bills began to pile up, and he had to take a job as a supervisor at a logistics center. The pay was decent, but the hours were brutal. He worked the graveyard shift from 10:00 p.m. to 6:00 a.m., 6 days a week. At first, we thought it was temporary. We told ourselves, we can handle this. It's just for a few months. But months turned into a year, and then 2. Our schedules became completely opposite. I work a standard 9-to-5 job at a bank. By the time I came home in the evening, Mark was usually waking up, groggy and irritable, gulping down coffee before rushing out the door. When I woke up in the morning, he was just getting home, exhausted, smelling of cardboard and sweat, needing to sleep immediately. We became ships passing in the night. Actually, it was worse than that. We were roommates who shared a bed, but never at the same time. The intimacy faded. The conversations stopped. The laughter died. I was lonely. It was a deep, aching loneliness that settled in my chest and refused to leave. I would come home to an empty, silent house every single evening. I would cook dinner for one, eat while scrolling through social media, and see photos of my friends out on dates with their partners. I felt abandoned, even though I knew Mark was doing this for us. That's where David came in. David has been Mark's best friend since high school. He is the kind of guy who is always around, fixing a leaky faucet, helping move furniture, or just dropping by to watch a football game. When Mark's schedule changed, David didn't stop coming around. In fact, he started coming over more often, usually in the early evenings before Mark had to leave, or on the weekends when Mark was too tired to go out. David was different from Mark. While Mark had become hardened and stressed by the night shift, David was relaxed. He was a landscape architect, so he spent his days outdoors. He always smelled like fresh grass and cedarwood. He was a good listener. I remember one specific afternoon, about 3 months ago. I was in the kitchen, struggling to open a jar of pasta sauce. It was a small, stupid thing, but it triggered a wave of frustration. I slammed the jar on the counter and just started crying. The doorbell rang. It was David. He had just stopped by to drop off a tool he had borrowed from Mark's garage. He walked in and saw me wiping tears from my face. "Michelle, what's wrong?" he asked, his voice full of genuine concern. He didn't stand awkwardly at the door. He walked right up to me. "It's nothing," I lied, sniffing. "It's just this stupid jar." He smiled gently, took the jar from my hands, and popped the lid open with a single twist. "I don't think it's just the jar," he said softly. That was the beginning of our emotional shift. We sat at the kitchen island for 2 hours that day. I told him how much I missed Mark, how lonely I felt in this big house, and how I felt like I was losing my husband to his job. David listened. He didn't interrupt. He didn't tell me I was being dramatic. He just looked at me with those intense, dark eyes and nodded. "He loves you, Michelle," David said eventually. "You know that, right? He's killing himself working those hours so he can buy you the life you deserve." "I know," I whispered, "but I don't want the life I deserve later. I want my husband now." "I know," David replied. He reached out and squeezed my hand. It was a friendly gesture, but his hand lingered on mine for a few seconds too long. A warmth shot through my arm, a feeling of being seen, of being touched, that I hadn't felt in so long. I pulled my hand away gently, but the air between us had changed. Over the next few weeks, David became my lifeline. If I had a bad day at work, I didn't text Mark because I knew he was sleeping. I texted David. If I wanted to try a new restaurant, Mark was too tired, so David would suggest we go for a quick bite. It felt innocent. We were just friends. I convinced myself that I was just spending time with family. But then came the night that changed everything. It was our 5th wedding anniversary. 5 years. It is a milestone that is supposed to be celebrated with champagne and romance. I had requested the day off work. I had spent the entire afternoon cooking Mark's favorite meal, lasagna, with homemade sauce, and a garlic bread recipe I had learned from his mother. I had set the table with candles. I had even bought a new dress, a deep red silk one that made me feel beautiful for the first time in ages. Mark had promised he would ask for the night off. He swore he would be home by 7:00 p.m. At 6:45 p.m., I lit the candles. At 7:15 p.m., the food was getting cold. At 7:30 p.m., my phone buzzed. It was a text message from Mark. Not a call, a text. "I'm so sorry, honey. The new guy quit. Boss says I have to cover the shift or I'm fired. I'll make it up to you this weekend. Love you." I stared at the screen until the words blurred together. I didn't reply. I couldn't. I felt something shatter inside me. It wasn't just anger, it was resignation. I realized that I came second. I always came second to the job, to the fatigue, to the necessity of survival. I blew out the candles. The smoke curled up into the air, smelling of burnt wick and disappointment. I sat at the table in my red dress, staring at the cold lasagna, and I poured myself a large glass of wine. Outside, a summer storm began to rage. Thunder shook the window panes, mirroring the storm inside my heart. I felt so incredibly small and pathetic. Then the doorbell rang. For a second, my heart leaped. Maybe he came anyway. Maybe he told his boss to forget it. I ran to the door and threw it open. It was Mark. It was David. He was standing on the porch, drenched from the rain, holding a small, wrapped gift box. He looked at me, at the red dress, at my tear-streaked makeup, and then back into my eyes. "He didn't make it, did he?" David asked. His voice was rough, laced with anger on my behalf. I just shook my head, unable to speak. David stepped inside and closed the door against the rain. "I had a feeling," he muttered. "I called him earlier to wish you guys happy anniversary, and he sounded frantic. I knew he wasn't coming. He texted me," I whispered. "He didn't even call." David sighed and held out the small box. "Well, I didn't want the day to go by without you getting something. It's just a small thing from me, being the best man and all." I took the box. My hands were shaking. I opened it to find a delicate silver charm bracelet. It was beautiful. It was thoughtful. It was the kind of thing a husband should buy. "David," I started, but my voice broke. Hey, he said, stepping closer. "Don't cry. He's an idiot, Michelle. A hardworking idiot, but an idiot." "I'm so lonely, David," I confessed, the words spilling out before I could stop them. "I'm so incredibly lonely in this house. I feel like a ghost." David looked at me with an intensity that frightened me. "You are not a ghost, Michelle. You are the most vibrant, beautiful woman I know. And seeing you like this, seeing you neglected, it kills me." The silence that followed was heavy. The air was thick with tension and the smell of rain and expensive perfume. I looked at David, really looked at him. He was here. He was present. He was looking at me like I was the only person in the world. Mark hadn't looked at me like that in years. "I made lasagna," I said, trying to break the tension, though my voice was barely a whisper. "Do you want some?" "I would love some," he replied. We sat on the living room floor, eating the anniversary dinner I had made for another man. We drank the wine. We talked. But this time, we didn't talk about Mark. We talked about us. We talked about how we felt about life, about our fears of getting older, about what we wanted from the future. As the night went on, the wine made my head spin, but it also lowered my defenses. I felt a desperate need for comfort. I needed to be held. I needed to know that I was still desirable. At around 10:00 p.m., the storm outside was at its peak. A loud crack of thunder shook the house, and the lights flickered and died. We were plunged into darkness. I gasped, and instinctively, David reached out and grabbed my arm to steady me. "It's okay," he said in the dark. "I've got you." He didn't let go. Even when my eyes adjusted to the moonlight filtering in through the window, he didn't let go. I could feel the heat of his hand on my skin. I turned to look at him, and he was already looking at me. We were inches apart. "Michelle," he whispered. It sounded like a warning and a plea at the same time. "I don't want to be alone tonight," I said. It was the truth. It was the only truth that mattered in that moment. David hesitated. I saw the conflict in his eyes. He was Mark's best friend. He knew the code. But he was also a man who had been watching the woman he cared for wither away in loneliness for months. He leaned in, and our lips met. It wasn't a tentative kiss. It was desperate. It was fueled by years of friendship and months of hidden attraction. It was a release of all the frustration and sadness I had been carrying. In that moment, I didn't think about Mark working at the warehouse. I didn't think about the vows I had taken. I only thought about the way David's hands felt on my waist, and the way he made me feel alive again. One thing led to another. The passion was overwhelming, a stark contrast to the cold, routine encounters I had become used to. For that one night, I felt cherished. I felt seen. But when the sun rose the next morning, the reality crashed down on me like a collapsing building. I woke up in my bed, and David was there beside me. The storm had passed, and the morning light was cruel and revealing. I sat up, clutching the sheets to my chest, and a wave of nausea, guilt, pure and simple, washed over me. What have I done? David woke up a moment later. He looked at me, and I saw the same panic in his eyes. We didn't say anything for a long minute. There was no smiling, no good morning. Just the heavy, suffocating realization of betrayal. "Michelle," David started, sitting up and rubbing his face with his hands. I don't know what to say. I shouldn't have." "Please," I interrupted, my voice trembling. "Please just go, before Mark gets home. He gets off shift in an hour." David nodded quickly. He gathered his clothes in silence. At the door of the bedroom, he turned back to me. "I didn't plan this, Michelle. You have to know that. I care about you. A lot." "Just go, David," I sobbed. He left. I heard the front door close, and then the sound of his truck driving away. I scrambled out of bed. I stripped the sheets and threw them in the washing machine. I took a shower, scrubbing my skin until it was red, trying to wash away the memory of his touch. I cleaned the living room, hiding the second wine glass, throwing away the leftovers. When Mark walked through the door 40 minutes later, I was sitting on the couch, drinking coffee, pretending to watch the news. My heart was hammering against my ribs, so hard I thought he would hear it. "Hey, babe," Mark said, dropping his keys on the counter. He looked exhausted. Dark circles hung under his eyes. "I am so sorry about last night. The shift was a nightmare. Happy anniversary, late." He walked over and kissed me on the forehead. I flinched. I couldn't help it. "You okay?" he asked, pulling back. I'm still upset about last night," I lied. "I didn't sleep well." I know. I'll make it up to you," he promised. "I'm going to crash for a few hours. Then maybe we can get dinner tonight." "Sure," I said weakly. Mark went upstairs to sleep in the bed I had just stripped and remade. I stayed downstairs and cried silently, terrified that he would somehow smell the betrayal in the air. That was 6 weeks ago. In the weeks that followed, I became an expert at avoidance. I stopped answering David's texts. When he came over to see Mark, I made excuses to run errands or stayed in the bedroom, claiming I had a migraine. I couldn't look him in the eye. I couldn't look Mark in the eye, either. I threw myself into my work. I tried to be the perfect wife. I cooked Mark's favorite meals. I rubbed his back when he complained about the warehouse floor. I was trying to buy back my soul with kindness. I thought that if I just ignored it, if I buried it deep enough, the memory of that night would fade. It would just be a dark secret that I would take to my grave. A moment of weakness. But biology does not care about secrets. Biology deals in facts. 2 weeks ago, I started feeling tired. Not just the normal fatigue of life, but a bone-deep exhaustion. Then came the nausea. I threw up my breakfast 3 days in a row. I told Mark it was a stomach bug. He believed me. He is a good man who trusts his wife. That makes this 1,000 times worse. Then my period didn't come. I was never late. Never. I waited a week, praying it was just stress. But deep down, I knew. I remembered the dates. Mark and I hadn't been intimate since before the anniversary. We were too tired, too distant. The only person I had been with was David. So here I am, the bathroom floor, the positive test. I stand up, my legs feeling like jelly. I wrap the test in layers of toilet paper and bury it at the bottom of the trash can, underneath empty shampoo bottles and tissues. I look at myself in the mirror. I look the same as I did yesterday, but I feel like a stranger. I am pregnant, and the father is my husband's best friend. A million thoughts race through my mind. Do I get rid of it? The thought crosses my mind, but I instantly recoil. I have wanted a baby for so long. The idea of ending a pregnancy breaks my heart. But the idea of keeping it destroys my life. Do I lie? can I pass this baby off as Mark's? The timing is impossible. If Mark does the math, and he isn't stupid, he will realize. He hasn't touched me in 2 months. If I tell him I'm 6 weeks pregnant, he will know immediately that it isn't his. Unless a dark, manipulative thought enters my mind. I could seduce Mark. I could initiate intimacy tonight. Then, in a few weeks, I could discover the pregnancy. The doctors could just be wrong about the dates, right? Babies measure small or big all the time. I feel sick just thinking about it. Using my husband to cover up my infidelity. It is monstrous. But isn't destroying his heart by telling him the truth also monstrous? Suddenly, I hear the front door unlock. Mark is home early. "Michelle, you home?" His voice calls out from the hallway. Panic surges through me. I splash cold water on my face, dry it frantically with a towel, and open the bathroom door. "I'm up here," I call back. I try to make my voice sound cheerful, but it sounds thin and brittle to my own ears. Mark walks into the bedroom. He looks surprisingly awake. He is holding a bouquet of flowers. "What's this?" I ask, staring at the flowers. "I got off early," Mark beams. And I realized I never really made up for the anniversary. And I missed you. I missed us. He walks over and hands me the flowers. Then he wraps his arms around me. I freeze. He smells like the warehouse, but underneath that, he smells like the man I married. "I talked to my boss," Mark says, pulling back to look at me. I told him I can't do the nights anymore. I need to switch to the day shift, even if it means a slight pay cut. I can't keep living like a zombie, Michelle. I don't want to lose you. My heart stops. This is what I wanted. This is what I have been praying for 2 years. He is coming back to me. He is choosing me over the job. But it's too late. That's wonderful, Mark," I manage to say. Tears prick my eyes. "Hey, why are you crying?" He wipes a tear from my cheek with his thumb. "Ideally, we can start trying for a family again, right? We always said we wanted kids." The irony cuts me like a knife. He wants to start a family, and I am already starting one with his brother in spirit. I don't feel very well, Mark," I say, pulling away. I think the stomach bug is coming back. His face falls into concern. "Oh no, do you need anything? Soup? Medicine?" "No," I say. "I just need to lie down." He nods. "Okay. I'll go downstairs and let you rest. I'll make some dinner later." He leaves the room. I wait until his footsteps fade down the stairs, and then I grab my phone. My hands are shaking so bad I almost drop it. I pull up David's contact. I haven't texted him in weeks. I type, "We need to talk now." He replies almost instantly. "Is everything okay?" I type, "No, meet me at the park by the river." 20 minutes. I grab my coat. I yell down to Mark that I need fresh air, and I'm going to run to the pharmacy for medicine. He offers to go for me, but I insist. I need to drive. I need to scream. I drive to the riverfront park. It's dusk. The sky is a bruised purple color. I see David's truck parked in the corner of the lot. He is leaning against the hood, looking anxious. I park and walk over to him. He straightens up when he sees me. He looks tired, too. The guilt has been eating him just as much as it has been eating me. "Michelle," he says, "I've missed you. I mean, as a friend. I hate that things are weird between us." "They are about to get a lot weirder," I say. My voice is flat. I am in shock. "What do you mean?" He steps closer, scanning my face. I take a deep breath. The cold air fills my lungs, but it doesn't steady me. "I took a test today, David." He freezes. He knows. I can see the realization hit him like a physical blow. His face goes pale. "No," he whispers. "Yes," I say. "But are you sure?" 2 lines, I say. "And Mark and I haven't. We haven't been together in months." The dates match perfectly with the anniversary. David runs a hand through his hair. He turns away from me, looking out at the dark river. He swears quietly. He paces in a small circle, then turns back to me. "Oh my God," he says. "Oh my God, Michelle, what are we going to do?" "I don't know," I say, and for the first time, I begin to sob. Mark just came home. He quit the night shift. He wants to fix our marriage. He wants to start a family. David looks horrified. He's my best friend. He's like a brother to me. This will kill him. It will destroy him. "I know," I scream. "Do you think I don't know that?" "We can't tell him," David says hurriedly. Maybe there's another way." "What other way?" I ask. "Lie, pretend it's his." He knows the schedule, David. He knows he hasn't touched me. Even if I slept with him tonight, a baby born a month early that looks like you. We can't hide this. David leans against the truck, burying his face in his hands. "I ruined everything. I came over to bring a bracelet, and I ruined 3 lives. We both did," I remind him. "I didn't stop you. I wanted you to stay." We stand there in silence for a long time. The wind blows off the river, chilling me to the bone. "So, what do you want to do?" David asks eventually. His voice is defeated. "Whatever you decide, I will support you. If you want to not have it, I'll pay for it. I'll drive you. If you want to keep it, I'll step up. But you have to tell me what you want." I look at my stomach. Flat for now, but harboring a secret that will explode my world. I think about the baby. An innocent life created from a moment of weakness and longing. Does this child deserve to be a secret? Does this child deserve to be erased? "I can't get rid of it," I say softly. "I want a baby, even if it happened the wrong way." David nods slowly. Okay, so we have to tell him." The words hang in the air. We have to tell him. "He will leave me," I say. "He will hate you." "He will," David agrees. "But if we lie to him and he finds out later, that's worse. That makes him a fool. Mark is a lot of things, but he doesn't deserve to be made a fool." David is right. The only thing worse than the betrayal is the lie that covers it. I have to go home, I say. I have to do it tonight, before he gets his hopes up about this new shift, before we start pretending everything is okay. Do you want me to come with you? David asks. I should be there. I should take the blame. No, I say. He needs to hear it from me first. If you're there, it will feel like we are ganging up on him. It will feel like we are already a couple. I need to talk to my husband. David nods. He looks like he wants to hug me, but he holds back. We have lost the right to comfort each other. Good luck, Michelle, he says. I get back in my car. The drive home feels like a funeral procession. I pull into the driveway. The lights are on in the house. It looks warm and inviting. Mark is inside, probably making dinner, thinking that his life is finally getting back on track. I walk to the front door. My hand hovers over the handle. This is it, the moment before the explosion. I realize now that one night really can change everything. It can take 5 years of love and trust and burn them to the ground in an instant. I thought I was lonely before, but I know that after tonight, I will understand the true definition of loneliness. I open the door. Mark, I call out. In the kitchen, he answers. I found some pasta. I walk into the kitchen. He is standing at the stove, stirring a pot. He turns and smiles at me. Feeling better, he asks. I take a deep breath. I place my hand on my stomach. Mark, I say, my voice steady despite the tears streaming down my face. Turn off the stove. We need to talk. And you need to sit down. He sees my face. His smile fades. He turns off the burner. Michelle, what is it? Is it your health? No, I say. It's about us. It's about the anniversary. And it's about David. As I watch the confusion on his face turn to slow, dawning horror, I know that my life, as I knew it, is over. But for the first time in weeks, the suffocating weight of the secret is gone. I am carrying a baby, and I am carrying the truth. And I will have to be strong enough for both.